Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. So here's the situation I'm dealing with right now. I'm renting an apartment from my parents. They own the place, and we never bothered with a formal lease or anything since it's a family arrangement. It was an unfurnished unit when I moved in, which meant I had to furnish it myself from scratch. Over the past couple of years, I've invested in all the basics and then some. I bought a bed, a couch, a dining table with chairs, a TV, kitchenware, a desk for my work, shelves, pretty much everything you would need to make an empty apartment into a home. All of it was paid for by me out of my own pocket. A bit of background on my family. I have a younger brother who, to put it bluntly, is treated as the golden child. He's in his mid-20s, but has never really gotten his life together. At the moment, he's unemployed and has been for quite a while. My parents always excuse it as him going through a rough patch or having bad luck, but this so-called rough patch has been going on for years. Meanwhile, I've been working full-time since I graduated college. My parents had no problem charging me rent as soon as I had an income. I've been paying them monthly since I was 22 for this place, but they've never expected my brother to contribute to anything. If anything, they cuddle him and bail him out whenever he screws up. Until recently, my brother was living at my parents' house, rent-free of course. Apparently that arrangement wasn't working out anymore. Maybe he was getting on their nerves lounging around. I don't know. Because a few months ago, my parents decided to move him into the apartment I'm renting. They framed it as helping him out during his rough patch. One day, they basically told me, not asked, that my brother would be coming to stay with me for a while. I didn't feel like I had much room to refuse. Plus, they pitched it as my duty as family to help him. I wasn't happy about it, but I begrudgingly went along thinking it would be temporary. Well, he's been living with me for the past few months, and it's turned into a nightmare of freeloading. To be clear, my brother isn't paying a single dime toward rent or utilities here. My parents explicitly said he doesn't have to pay anything because he has no job and is stressed. All the expenses are still on me, and my brother just occupies the second bedroom, which I had set up as a guest room/off with a futon that I bought. Now he's using that futon as his bed. He contributes absolutely nothing financially. Not for rent, not for the electric bill, not even for groceries. In fact, he eats the food I buy and doesn't even clean up after himself most of the time. Every day I come home from work to find him on my couch, either playing video games on my TV or just napping. Dishes are left out, trash overflowing. He basically behaves like a teenager on summer break, except he's a grown man. I've tried talking to him about pulling his weight in other ways if he can't contribute money, like at least do some chores or keep the place tidy. But he just shrugs it off or gets defensive that I'm on his case. One time I insisted he help out with cleaning since I'm working, and he isn't. He whined to our mom that I was stressing him out. You can guess how that went. I got a call from mom telling me to cut your brother some slack because he's going through a lot. So I backed off to keep the peace. But I'm fuming inside. Here I am busting my ass at work to pay rent to my own parents, no less, and cover all the bills while my adult brother lives here for free, makes a mess, and I'm apparently not allowed to complain. My parents keep reminding me that family helps family, and that I should be understanding of his situation. It's not that I lack understanding. I get that he's struggling, but he's also not trying to improve or contribute at all. It feels unbelievably unfair. Honestly, at this point, I'm basically subsidizing my brother's life while also paying my parents for the privilege. The whole arrangement has me really frustrated. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but anytime I bring it up, I get guilt-tripped for not being supportive enough. I'm not sure what to do. Confronting my parents seems useless because they obviously side with him on everything. And since there's no formal lease, they technically hold all the cards. They could kick me out if I push back too hard. I needed to vent about this because it's been eating at me. I don't know how long I'm expected to host my freeloader brother here. My parents act like it's no big deal and keep saying it's just until he gets back on his feet. But there's no timeline for that. Knowing him, it could drag on indefinitely. I'm stuck in a really awkward spot. Either I suck it up and continue living with this parasite draining me, or I risk a huge family fight by putting my foot down. For now, I'm gritting my teeth and tolerating it, hoping he miraculously gets a job sooner rather than later. But honestly, my patience is running thin. I'll update if anything changes, but yeah, that's my current life. Paying rent to my parents so I can support my unemployed brother who lives in my apartment rent-free. Fun times. Not the a-hole, not even close. OP's parents made a decision about their child, and yet somehow expected OP to fund it and carry the burden. That is not family helping family. They imposed a roommate on OP without consent, made OP financially responsible for him, and then doubled OP's rent when OP expressed concern. That is not support. That is coercion. OP's brother is an adult. He is capable of working, cleaning, contributing, or at the very least showing some gratitude. Instead, he lounges, consumes OP's resources, and complains when asked to do the bare minimum. His entitlement is not a surprise. OP's parents built it. Moving out is the correct decision. They gambled that guilt and obligation would trap OP, and OP proved he is stronger than that. OP should not feel sorry. They created this situation. They can manage the consequences. This situation screams golden child dynamic, and it always ends the same way. The responsible sibling becomes a walking safety net until they finally reach a breaking point. You have done absolutely nothing wrong by protecting your boundaries. Your brother has been enabled his entire life, shielded from accountability, and now your parents expect you to preserve that comfort at your own expense. Their logic is deeply flawed. If they cannot afford to support him, they should not be pushing that responsibility onto someone else. That is not family. That is emotional and financial manipulation. You are an adult with your own life and your own goals. Do not let them guilt-trip you into sacrificing your stability because they failed to raise your brother responsibly. You handled this more patiently than most people would have. You gave your brother space. You tolerated the mess, the freeloading, the lack of respect. You tried to speak up, and every time your parents shut you down and weaponized guilt. They made it very clear that your comfort meant nothing compared to shielding his ego. The moment they said, "If you don't like it, you can leave," the situation changed. They effectively evicted you emotionally, assuming you would never dare call their bluff. But you did, and that is admirable. There is nothing immature about protecting your independence. Immaturity is expecting your adult child to bankroll your other adult child and feeling offended when they decline. Stand firm. You deserve a space where your effort is respected, not exploited. This is not sibling support. This is a trap disguised as obligation. You were placed in a position where, no matter what you did, you would be the villain in their narrative. Either the selfish sibling, for refusing to support him, or the ungrateful child, for resenting being forced into it. Manipulators love using the word family when it benefits them, and your parents have mastered that language. Your brother's reaction, indifference, entitlement, and zero initiative shows why he is in this situation. He has never been required to grow. Your parents created a dependent adult and expect you to maintain him. That is not your responsibility. Leaving is the healthiest thing you could do. Your future will not improve by sacrificing yourself to enable someone who refuses to stand. Let them discover what supporting him truly costs. It is not your burden to carry. Update. All right. I wish I had better news, but things have actually gotten worse. It's been a few months of me living with my brother, as described in the original post, and I just got blindsided by my parents with a major change in terms. They informed me yesterday that they are doubling the rent I pay for this apartment. Yes, you read that right. Doubling it. Effective next month. This came out of nowhere, at least from my perspective. I got a phone call from my dad basically saying something like, "Since your brother is staying there now, we need to adjust the rent." I was confused and asked what he meant. He said that because there are two people living in the apartment now, the expenses have increased, and I need to contribute more. I immediately knew this was nonsense. My brother isn't suddenly making the water or electricity bill double. They pay for those bills. This is about them wanting me to cover for him, so I pressed. Was he saying I have to pay extra to cover my brother's share because my brother isn't paying anything? And the answer was essentially yes. My dad actually said, "Well, someone has to pay and your brother is in no position right now. We think it's only fair you help out since you're working." I couldn't believe the audacity. I pointed out that I'm already paying all the other bills and that it's completely unfair to make me pay double rent on top of that. Dad basically replied that if I don't like it, I can move out. That was literally what he said. If you don't like it, you're free to leave. I managed to stay calm on the phone, but I was taken aback for a second. I responded with something like, "Are you serious? You're really okay with me moving out over this?" And my dad said, "We hope it doesn't come to that, but those are the new terms. It's your choice, my choice, right? A choice between getting blatantly exploited or walking away from my home. Some choice." After that call, I needed a bit to cool off. I'm honestly still processing how my own parents could think this is an acceptable solution. They basically want me to pay for my brother to live here rent-free on top of him, already freeloading off me in every other way. And the alternative they're giving me is just to leave if I have a problem. It's unbelievable. I haven't spoken to my mom in person about it yet, but I did text her to ask if she is really on board with this idea. She replied with a message about how this is only temporary until your brother finds a job and that family should support each other in tough times. She basically doubled down that they need me to help support him right now. So yes, they expect me to pay more. She added something like, "We've helped you out a lot in the past, so we hope you can return the favor now." I'm trying to figure out what help she's referring to because I've been financially independent for years. I guess she means letting me rent their apartment, which I've been paying for, so it's not like they've been giving me free housing. At the end of her text, she also repeated what my dad said. If I really feel it's unfair, I have the option to move out and no hard feelings. The tone was almost like they were doing me a kindness by giving me an out, which again, there is no lease, so of course I can leave whenever. Well, I've made a decision. I'm not going to pay double rent to subsidize my brother. This apartment is nice and I've enjoyed living here, but it is absolutely not worth it at twice the price, especially under these conditions. For context, the rent I'm paying right now was already slightly under market rate, a bit of a family discount. Doubling it would put it way above market for this area. If I'm going to shell out that kind of cash, I'd rather pay it to rent a place where I don't have a freeloading roommate foisted on me. So, it looks like I'm going to be moving out. I told my parents that I will indeed take them up on that option. My mom sounded upset in her reply, but still insisted that they just don't have the money to carry brother right now, and that they have to do this. Frankly, I think that's garbage. If they truly needed extra money, they wouldn't have let him live rent-free in the first place. This is about priorities, and it's clear who comes first. I've started looking at other apartments. I'm aiming to find something as soon as possible. My brother, by the way, has been totally uninvolved in this whole thing. I told him about the rent doubling, and he just kind of went, "Damn, that sucks," and then continued playing his video game. He didn't offer to help or even really comment beyond that. Not that I expected anything different, but his apathy just reinforces that I'm making the right choice by leaving. Update 2. I found a new apartment. I spent the last couple of weeks apartment hunting like it was a second job. Luckily, I managed to secure a decent place. It's a bit smaller than where I am now, and the rent is a little higher than what I was paying. Well, higher than what I was paying before my parents tried to double it, but it's within my budget, and most importantly, it will be entirely mine. No freeloading relatives in the picture. I signed the lease and I get the keys in a few days. Honestly, I feel pretty good about it. The place is closer to my workplace and it's in a nice quiet building. I've only told a couple of close friends about it so far. I have not volunteered my new address to my parents or brother yet, and I'm not sure I will, at least not immediately. Right now, my parents just know that I've secured a new place and that I plan to be moved out by the end of this month. They didn't ask a lot of questions. My mom just said something like, "I wish you would reconsider, but it's your decision." There was no apology or last-minute change of heart from them. They seem resigned to me moving out, which is fine by me. My brother is aware that I'm leaving soon, but I don't think it's fully sunk in for him what that actually means. Lately, I've been packing up my smaller stuff into boxes. He sees me doing it. He'll spot a box labeled kitchen or book sitting in the living room and just casually go, "Oh, you packing already?" I say, "Yes," and that's the end of it. No offer to help. Not that I'd really want his help, and no real conversation about it. Importantly, I've also been planning the move out in terms of all the furniture. Remember, all of the furniture and almost every appliance in this apartment is mine. I made a detailed list to ensure I don't leave anything behind that I bought. I'm taking my bed frame, mattress, the whole setup, the futon from the second bedroom, which my brother has been sleeping on, the couch and armchair from the living room, all the tables and lamps, the coffee table, end tables, floor lamps, etc., are the dining set, table and chairs, all of my kitchen stuff, utensils, pots, pans, plates, silverware, toaster, microwave, etc. Everything I purchased, my desk and office chair, the TV and the TV stand. Basically, every item that I personally paid for. By the time I'm done, the apartment is going to look exactly like it did when I first moved in. Completely empty. My parents did not furnish this place for me. I did. So I'm well within my rights to take my belongings. I'm not about to leave my stuff behind for my brother to enjoy after I'm gone, especially given the way this has all gone down. Now, I haven't been broadcasting this or anything. I'm just quietly making sure I remove everything. My parents and brother haven't explicitly talked to me about the furniture. I suspect my parents might be assuming I'll leave some stuff behind for the family or whatever, or maybe they truly haven't thought about it at all. My brother, for his part, either doesn't realize or is in denial that I'm going to take the furniture. He actually had the nerve to ask me yesterday, "You're going to leave the couch, right?" Because that's his favorite spot to lounge. I responded, "No, I'm taking everything that's mine, the couch included." He looked surprised and went, "Seriously? What am I supposed to sit on or sleep on?" I just told him, "Not my problem. Maybe ask mom and dad about that." He mumbled something about me being selfish and then went back to scrolling on his phone. Oh well, moving day is set for this weekend. I've arranged for a couple of friends to come help with the larger items, and I rented a moving van for the big stuff. My plan is to do it Saturday afternoon, when my brother usually heads out for a while. He typically goes to a friend's place or something on weekends. I figure it'll be easier if he's not around watching and whining as I carry out the sofa and the bed that he's been using. I'd prefer to avoid a big confrontation scene during the move. He can discover the end result afterward. Update 3. I am writing this from my new apartment. Officially, the move is done. And wow, did it end with some fireworks at the old place. So, moving day was yesterday. As planned, my brother was out of the apartment for most of it. He left around noon to go hang out with some friends. I didn't ask for details. He mumbled something about meeting a buddy. The moment he was gone, I sprang into action. My two friends showed up to help, and we had the moving van ready. We worked quickly. We loaded up all the furniture I listed before, plus all my boxes and personal items. It took us a few hours of hauling, but by early evening we had everything out. I took every last item that was mine down to the shower curtain and the trash cans I had bought. The apartment was literally back to the empty shell it was when I first moved in. I even slid the keys from under the door on my way out just to signal that I was done and gone. We drove off and unloaded everything at my new place. That part went smoothly. So now I'm here surrounded by my boxes and furniture, starting to unpack and arrange my new living space. It's a mix of exhaustion from the move and satisfaction that I managed to get out cleanly. Now the fireworks came later. As expected, my brother returned to the old apartment sometime in the evening and was shocked to find it completely empty. He blew up my phone with texts and calls. I didn't see the messages right away because I was busy at the new place, but once I was done unpacking the essentials, I checked my phone and found a barrage from him and a couple from my parents as well. My brother's texts were basically, "What the hell? Did you seriously take everything? There's nothing here. I don't even have a bed now. You really took the bed? Thanks a lot. I'm sleeping on the floor tonight." He left a voicemail too, saying I could have at least left the couch or something because now he has nowhere to sit or sleep. I chose not to respond to my brother directly. There's nothing I can say that I haven't already said. Update 4. My mom was also trying to reach me. She had texted me asking, "Did you move out?" Clearly having heard from my brother, I decided to call her to get it over with. When she picked up, she sounded upset and immediately asked if I really had to take all the furniture. She was clearly very unhappy. She said, "My brother came home to an empty apartment and had to sleep on the floor." And she was asking in a reproachful tone, "Did you really take everything?" I answered, "Yes, I took what I bought. All of that stuff is mine." That set her off. She started scolding me, saying she didn't expect I'd strip the place bare and leave my brother with nothing. She said he was complaining to us that you left him in an empty apartment. I pointed out that I simply removed my own property. I told her, "You guys said I could move out if I didn't like the situation, so I did. Did you expect me to just leave all my furniture behind for him?" She said she actually did think I'd be reasonable and leave a few things because I knew my brother had nothing. She kept saying, he can't afford to buy a bed or couch right now. I responded that it wasn't my responsibility to provide his furniture. I said something like, "If he needs furniture, that's between you and him. Maybe you can help him out, or he can get a job and buy some. It's not on me." At that point, the phone conversation turned into an argument. She accused me of being petty, saying I was essentially punishing my brother by making him sleep on the floor. She said it was like I wanted to hurt him. I replied that all I did was take my belongings with me, which I'm fully entitled to do. The apartment was unfurnished when I moved in, and now it's unfurnished again. I returned it to the original state. If they expected it to remain furnished for my brother, that was their mistake. My dad was apparently on speaker or nearby because then I heard him chime in. He said this was an immature way to handle things, and that they expected better from me. He said, "You just made things harder for everyone. You could have at least left the poor guy a bed." Hearing that from him was infuriating. This is the same dad who told me, "If you don't like it, leave." So I simply did exactly what he told me to do, and now they're mad at how I did it. I shot back that I was only following his advice. I didn't like the arrangement, so I left. There was a lot of back and forth. They kept trying to guilt trip me. "He's your brother. How could you do this to him? And we did so much to help you, and this is how you repay us." That one really got me. Considering I've paid them rent and took care of myself, I didn't budge. I told them straight up that I'm done being taken advantage of. I remember saying, "You two decided that my wants didn't matter at all, and you put him first at my expense. So now you can deal with him yourselves. I'm out." And I also said, "Don't you dare try to make me feel guilty for taking my own things." I was paying for everything in that place, while he paid nothing. You have some nerve calling me selfish. By the end of this exchange, voices were raised on both sides. My mom was crying, or at least sounded like it, and my dad was angry, saying things like I was being ungrateful and acting out. I was angry too, and frankly, I had enough. I told them this conversation was over and hung up. Right now, I've stopped responding to my parents' calls and texts. I did get one more message from my brother this morning, a photo of him lying on a blanket. He brought a blanket with him when he moved in with me on the floor with a sarcastic, "Thanks a lot." I didn't reply to that either. I'm done engaging with him for now. I've decided that I'm going no contact with my parents and brother for the time being. That means I'm not answering their calls or messages, and I'm not planning to visit or anything like that. I just need a break from all this toxicity. They made their choice and I made mine. If they somehow come to their senses and genuinely apologize down the line, and if my brother actually makes an effort to change a situation, maybe I'll reconsider having a relationship. But as it stands, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Meanwhile, I'm settling into my new apartment. It's peaceful. I slept soundly on my own bed in my own place without any freeloading or family drama under my roof. This morning, I made breakfast and enjoyed the fact that all the groceries I bought are still there in the fridge just for me. It's a small thing, but it felt good. The whole atmosphere here is just so much better for my mental well-being. I know my parents are probably spinning this story to other relatives and making me out to be the bad guy. Honestly, I don't care. Anyone who wants to hear my side of it can call me, and I'll tell them exactly what happened. I've got nothing to hide.